Can I finish my TBR? That is the question of this video, because this will be my only January vlog to get back on track with this whole filming. And as we speaking of filming, I started this video filming late today because we have already January 19th and I already finished 5 books for this vlog. So before I continue reading more books, let's speak about the books that I've already read. The first book of 2025 that I've read is Lights Out by Navessa Allen. It was a buddy read with some friends, and I did some immersive reading here because I've heard the audiobook should be really good. And yes, it was really good. I really enjoyed listening to the audiobook while reading this print copy, and I really liked the book in general, so that I already pre-ordered book 2 of the series, because yes, this is a series. Lights Out is book 1 and book 2 will be out in June, I think. And Navessa Allen will be starting writing the 3rd book in the series next month. So a lot for us to enjoy. If you can handle dark romance, because be aware this is dark romance. It is also romantic comedy. So a dark rom-com which I really enjoy. It is the second dark rom-com I read in general. The first one was Butcher and Blackbird. And I like this mix of humor and the dark topics. This book made me smile a lot, but please read the trigger warning if this is a thing for you, because we handle a lot of dark topics, especially stalking, and a lot of spicy things that are also in the trigger warning here. The story is about the trauma nurse Ellie. She is our female main character and she works in the emergency room, so she has a lot to do as trauma nurse with trauma patients, and this topic is handled throughout the whole book. It is done really well, and that is nothing to joke about, and Navessa Allen doesn't joke about this topic. And I think this is really good presentation of a trauma nurse and what she has to handle in her job. That part was super interesting and heavy, but I really enjoyed that. And then we have our male main character, Josh. Josh is a hacker and security expert. He does this for a living. And as a hobby, he makes thirst traps on social media with a mask on. And Ellie, our trauma nurse, is totally into this whole mask king and likes his video, comments his videos. And what she doesn't know is that this account she follows, the man behind it is the roommate of her ex-hookup, and Josh is in love with her. The time he realizes that she comments on his videos, the stalking begins, and he tries to find out more about her, what comments she left on his videos. And one comment was that she has this fantasy that he breaks into her house and awaits her in her bedroom. And Josh thinks, yeah, why not make this reality? And that's the beginning of the story. I don't want to tell you much more about it, but I really enjoyed it, and except the stalking, Josh is a really green flag and I really like him. I really enjoyed the humor in this book. I laughed a lot, and it is also really spicy, and it is good spice. So a perfect start in the new reading year, and I can't wait to read more by Navessa Allen. And the second book that I started was The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. It is the first book in the City of Phantoms series. I did a little bit of research and couldn't find out much more about the series, So I don't know how many books will be in the series or when book 2 will be out. I don't know. But what I can say about this book is that I DNF'd it after 224 pages. So almost half of the book. But I promised myself to DNF more books this year if I don't enjoy them this much, and when I have the feeling that this will turn out only as a 3-star rating, and that was the case here. I asked some people to buddy read this book with me and really felt bad about DNFing it. But we all didn't enjoy it that much, and from 5 or 6 people, only one person finished the book and told us about the ending. And she only finished because she doesn't DNF ever. It is totally a Romeo and Juliet situation in this book. So we have 2 underground gangs, the Daggers and the Cloaks, in this book. And the Daggers killed the mother of our female main character in the beginning of the book. So Seraphine, our female main character, has only one option because she will be next. So she flees to the Cloaks and begs to be part of the organization, and they take her in. Our main character, Ransom, is part of the Dagger organization, and he has the order to kill Seraphine, but he questions this order a lot. So why Seraphine earned to be killed, and at the same time he totally thinks he is the villain, the bad character, and that is not the case. So I wished he would be more villain, so that we had actually enemies to lovers, but that was not the case. And I really thought both main characters are not good in what they do. So the Daggers are the organization that is full of assassins, so they kill a lot, and the Cloaks are an organization that steals a lot. But as far as I know and as I read, they aren't good in what they are doing because they failed every mission and it was bad. At this point that I've DNF'd, I had to admit that I didn't care about the characters and the story. So that was it for me and the City of Phantom, which means at this point that I started 2 new series and I'm on track here. I DNF'd this series, so I'm back to 36 series, but I also continued 2 other series. The first one was Beartown by Frederick Backman, a book that I finished the day before yesterday. It is the second book in the trilogy, Us Against You, and it is really heavy topic, so be aware of that. But I really love this trilogy by Frederick Backman. The first book hit hard 4 years ago, and now we were ready to read the second book because I read it with 2 friends now. And I love how Frederick Backman writes about emotions. It feels so raw and honest, and I cried more than one time while reading this book. You can see the whole plot developing throughout the whole story. You see the characters developing, and the stakes are high the whole time. Normally I don't like when authors write like this and jumps between scenes so quickly and more than one time in one chapter, but it really works here, and it broke my heart more than one time. It gave me hope more than one time, and I'm really happy that I finally read the second book in the series, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we will read book 3 soon. But in this moment I'm waiting for my other two friends to finish book 2 because I was the first one now. So we will see about that. And the other series that I continued now in January is the Black Dagger Brotherhood series with Lover Enshrined. It is the book that I had to read in December, but Maron, my buddy read partner, also didn't read the story in December. So we decided to read this now in January. And I read the first book now in January, the first half of the story. It is fairy story and I enjoy so much about the story, except the parts about Furry, our male main character. I don't like him. I don't like that he is whining so much and he messes up everything. There is so much miscommunication and he feels so bad for himself the whole time. And I can't stand that. But I really like Cormia, the female main character, and I really like the subplots that we have in this book, like the story about John and the story about Quinn. It is super interesting how the whole story develops for Lash. Not good for him, but interesting. And I already started the second half, which we have here. I started to read this today. That's why I really wanted to make this video today, so I don't fall behind much more with reading or more than updating you. And I will continue reading today. And I now have one book left to update you about. It is Hero by Katie Buckley, a book that I've got as an ARC by the publisher. It was a quick read with under 200 pages, but not an easy read, and it made me rage a lot. The writing style is totally not for everyone and not my favorite, because Katie Buckley jumps a lot in time and in places and in situations, which is really confusing, and you have to take attention and think about what you're reading to stay on track. It doesn't have much plot, but there is a plot because we have our female main character, Hero, and she tells her story. We are starting with the situation that her boyfriend thinks about breaking up with her and gives her now 1 week exactly to think about the situation and if she really wants this relationship. And he will be away for this 1 week and will come back after that, so they can talk about the whole situation. It is a lot about feminism, about losing yourself in a relationship, about that women are always the support system for the man in a relationship. And yes, relationships are about compromises, but that mostly the female character in the relationship have to make the compromises. It is about sexism in relationship and in work situations. And I was angry for our female main character. I was sad that she had to make these experiences. But also I know that a lot of women make these experiences, and that's the sad thing about this, that this is reality for so many women. And I'm a little bit glad that I'm not in a relationship after reading this, because it made me realize how happy I am to be on my own, that I don't have to make these compromises, that I found myself while being alone, and that I'm happy with being alone, because society always tells us, especially as women, that we need a partner to be happy, that we need to marry someone, that we have to have kids, and that is not the case. We can totally be happy on our own. And yeah, that's what Hero is about. I can't really tell much about a plot because it is more about the idea of love, the myth of love and relationship, and very literary. So not everyone will enjoy this book, but I really liked it. And that means I gave you all the updates I have for now. And I can continue reading now and hopefully give you more updates later. I finished the second half of Lover Enshrined, and I have to admit that Lover Enshrined is my least favorite of the Black Dagger Brotherhood series so far, because I don't like Ferry. There is too much whining most of the time in the story. His life just goes downhill, and we have just a little bit in the end where is hope and healing and all these things. I wished that would be more, so the second half, the full second half, but it is what it is. I like the ending of the book. I like how things developed, and I like how Ferry changed things in this vampire world. And I think it's a good decision that he made there. And I can't wait to read more of that. I can't wait to read more of the other characters like John and Rev. Rev is the next one in line, and I will read the next one in February. The next part of the story was planned now for January, but Marion, my buddy read partner, and I decided that we don't want to pressure ourselves to read it that fast now, and we will read this in February, so this goes on my next TBR. And that means I have now 3 books left on my TBR. These 2 ones and Vicious Fae. But I can say I'm throwing now all my reading plans for the rest of the months overboard, because today is January 21st and I got book mail. And I waited to unpack this with you. So let's do it. And here it is, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. The 3rd book in the Empyrean series that I waited so long for. And I will dive in right away. So here we have it without the foil. It has a beautiful sprayed edge. And let's see under the dust jacket. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, I'm so happy right now. Just to hold it in hand and have the possibility to read it now. We have a map. And more information about the characters and their dragons. And then the story begins. Let me see how much pages we have without spoiling the end. 923 pages from the German edition. And yeah, that's what I'm reading for the next few days. Onyx Storm Day 1. Don't worry, I won't spoil anything during this vlog, because I want everyone to have the same experience, no spoilers. But I want to tell you a little bit about my reading experience with it. I read the first 82 pages yesterday in the German edition, so the prologue and chapter 1 to 4. And I have to admit, I'm a little bit lost here. I don't think Rebecca Yarros did a very good job in introducing new characters and things like that. And that's a bit hard for me. Also, I have to admit that I don't remember anything from book 2, but I haven't had time to reread Iron Flame before, so I have to live with that now. And I won't do a reread now, I will read Onyx Storm, and I'm enjoying it so far. Despite knowing every fact, I can live with that, and I can ask my questions in the body read, and maybe someone else can answer the questions. That's helping a lot, and I really like to see my favorite characters again, or some characters that I love and some that I don't love. But I really like to get back into the Empyrean world, and I will continue reading today and will update you tomorrow. Day 2. I'm not that far in. I'm at page 180, but I'm getting into it now and getting more into the story, and really I'm hooked by some things that came up. And I haven't continued today. It is now 6 p.m. but I was busy with work and life and took a long nap and things like that. But I'm ready to continue now and will hopefully read another 100 pages today. I'm really taking this slow. That was not the plan. I really wanted to inhale that book, but I have the feeling that it is better that I'm taking my time with it and reading like 100 pages a day, so that I can enjoy it, so that I can let things sit a bit, and that helps me remembering things other than with book 2. And I don't want that this is over and that I have to wait another 1 or 2 years for another book. So I'm taking my time, and that is okay. My buddy read partners are already finished or way in front of me, but that's okay. I'm not stressing about it and just enjoy the story. I ended day 3 on page 255. I'm now at chapter 17 and can't wait to continue reading today. I haven't reached my goal for yesterday to read to page 280-ish, but that's okay. I continue today. I'm massively behind in the body read, but also that's okay. No need to rush through it. But I have to say, at this point I'm pretty annoyed by these little excerpts at the start of the chapters, because so many times at this point here they have spoiled plot of the chapter, which is totally unnecessary, and I really wanted to get the information first in the chapter, not in these little excerpts. But it is what it is, and I will continue reading now. The middle of day 7. I missed a few updates, I'm so sorry, but the weekend was very busy and I met with friends and was a lot out of the house, so I didn't end up reading that much. But I'm now on page 563, so it is chapter 38 starting here, and that means I've read over half of the story now. My buddy read partners both finished on Sunday. and they had to promise me not to spoil a thing about the second half of the book. No foreshadowing, no feelings, not how much they cried in the second half, because I want to read the second half without any influence. I'm really into the story now and like the heist that they are on. I'm really intrigued by the plot and can't wait to read more. As I said, we are now in the middle of day 7 and I have read a few chapters today and I will continue reading today after I finished editing my February TBR video, because that has to go out tomorrow and I have filmed it a few minutes ago. So now I have to work for a bit. Thankfully the video is not that long because I really want to continue reading. Result after day 8. I'm on chapter 50 now. I have 200 pages left, pretty exactly, and I have read 100 pages yesterday. I decided to stop there because I had the feeling that this was the last point to stop and that I will inhale this in one sitting. And it was already late yesterday and I didn't want to read all night because I had to work today. So I left the last 200 pages for today and I will read them now. You know that after a breakup, girls sometimes need a new haircut. I got a new haircut and I'm just joking, not because of a heartbreak. After finishing Onyx Storm, it was just time to go to the hair salon. But I finished Onyx Storm the day before yesterday. We have today the last day of January. Honestly, I don't know what to say without spoiling anything. So I will just tell you my opinion now on Onyx Storm without spoilers. But if you don't want to know how I feel about the book, then skip until the spoiler warning goes away. And now that everyone is away that don't want to hear this, for me personally, Onyx Storm is a 4-star book, not a 5-star book. And maybe even a bit less than a 4-star. But the feeling says 4-star. I didn't like the first half as much as I liked the second half. I wasn't as invested in the first half because the plot was very passive and the characters just follow orders, even if we got the mission for the book at the beginning of the book and we start the mission halfway through the book, and that was the point where the story got interesting to me and I was invested. The start of the book was a bit difficult for me, but that's mostly because I haven't done a reread of book 2 and couldn't remember a lot of the characters. So that was up to me, but a friend could answer some of my questions, so I was okay with it. And I really liked the second half, except some decisions Rebecca Yarros made in the last 100 pages that really pissed me off. That doesn't mean that I don't like the ending. That is not the case. I liked the ending. It was the ending that I expected it to be at some points. But Onyx Storm in general was a lot of info dumping. We had a lot of flat characters to me, especially the characters that was not the main people in the squad. But I really liked the open communication between Xaden and Violet. And it was the total opposite to book 2, which I really appreciated because I was really annoyed in book 2 about the whole miscommunication. So I really liked that, and I liked how Rebecca Yarros developed the story throughout book 3. It was not the story I expected, but it was a story I really liked. And yesterday in the evening I had a 2 hours live discussion with the friend I've read the book, and we discussed a lot of theories, things we wanted to mention after reading Onyx Storm and what could happen in book 4 and 5. That was really cool, and we all noticed different things in the book. So we had a lot of fun discussing it, and I can't wait to do it again with book 4 in 2 years, 2.5 years, I don't know. But we have to wait a long time now for book 4 in the series, because Rebecca Yarros haven't started writing yet, and she won't start until fall this year to write the 4th book in the series. And the whole writing and publishing process takes time, so I don't expect book 4 to be published before 2027. And I know I will definitely do a reread of the first 3 books before book 4, because I don't want this situation in this start again. And with finishing Onyx Storm, that also means that this is the last book I finished in January, because I won't finish anything today. I have barely read yesterday. I have nothing read today at this point. So the 3 books I had left on my TBR from January, I will put now on my February TBR. So for February I have now these books. I have The Way of Kings that I will continue reading today for Sunday's vlog that will be published at this point. I will start reading Redeeming Six today, so this will be one of the first reads for February to me. I have started reading Vicious Fae, the 3rd book in the Ruthless Boys series, but I'm not really far into it. So also February TBR. And tomorrow on February 1st I will start Project Hail Mary as a buddy read. And I can't wait for this book discussion. So a lot to read for me in the next few days, and a lot I will tell you about in future vlogs. So please tell me in the comments what was your favorite read of January in the first few weeks of the year. I'm really curious about that. Like the video if you wanna, follow my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye!